Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? So today we are going to be making a beautiful style. So it's a shirt dress. It has the gathers under an elastic sleeve and a v neckline. So that is what we are going to be making. So the amount of fabric I folded here is I folded a fabric that is enough to accommodate my hip measurement and my sewing allowance and the ease. So whatsoever fabric you want to fold into two, make sure it's enough to take your hip measurement. So the first thing we are going to be taking is the shoulder line. So the shoulder line I'm working with is 8 inches, and I came down by 1 inches for my shoulder slope, and the neckline I'm working with is 3 inches, and we come down by 1 inches for the neckline. So I'm just going to connect this 1 inches to the shoulder line. So on this point here, I'm going to be taking my sleeve opening. So for me, the sleeve opening I'm working with is 7.5, which is what I just marked out, and it's also going to be my chest line. So it means that line now is my chest line. So on that line, I'm going to be replacing the shoulder measurement, which is 8 inches. So I'm just going to replace it this way, and I'm going to be connecting this point with my ruler. So after I'm done connecting the line, then I'm going to be connecting my shoulder slope also. So I'm just going to place it from the neck to the shoulder, and that is it. Then I'm going to be going up by ½ inches, which is going to be my joining allowance. That is to join both the front and the back dress together. So now the next thing to do is to take my half length. So my half length is 16 inches. So I'm just going to mark it out this way, 16 inches. Then from my 16 inches, I'm going to be coming down by 9 inches, which is going to be where I'm going to be placing my hip measurement. So that's more like my hip point. So the next thing to do is to divide my bust measurement divided by 4. So the bust measurement I'm working with is 36. So 36 divided by 4 is 8 inches. I'm going to be adding 1 inches for ease and 1 inches for sewing allowance. Then for the waist area I'm working with is 30 inches. So 30 divided by 4 is 7.5. I'm going to be adding 1 inches for ease and 1 inches for sewing allowance. Then on the hip area I'm working with is 38. So 38 divided by 4 is 9.5 plus 1 inches is 1 inches sewing allowance. So the next thing to do is just to connect all of these lines together. So after I'm done connecting all of the lines together, the next thing to do is to take the full measurement of this dress. So the full measurement of the dress I want is 39 inches, but because we are going to be having gathers, so I want that gather length to be around 8 inches. So I'm going to be minusing 8 inches from 39 inches. I'm going to be left with 31 inches. Then I'm also going to be adding ½ inches to that 31 inches for the joining. That it means to join the upper part to the gathers. So and I'm just going to mark the straight line and just extend my hip line this way. So the next thing to do is just to cut all of this out. So guys, now this is it now for the back. So we're going to be using this back to cut out for the front. So you can see that I've gone ahead to place the front on the back on the front, and I have 2 inches extension, which is going to be for my bottom placket. So that is what I'm going to be using for the bottom placket. So the next thing to do is just to cut out, tracing out my back. So that's what I'm going to do first before we now work on the neckline for the front. Okay, so for the neckline for the front, so I want the front neckline to be around 7 inches. So I'm just going to mark out my 7 inches this way. And I'm going to be connecting my 7 inches point to the neckline. So I'm just going to connect it to the neckline. So you notice that I just place it straight. That's because I want, by the time I'm done even with the bottom placket, I just want to have that perfect V neckline. So I want even the bottom placket to have the V neckline. So I am just going to cut this out now. So after I'm done cutting out the neckline, so the next thing to do is just to get rid of shoulder bulge for the front part. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to be coming in by half inches, just the usual way we get rid of our shoulder bulge. So that's what I'm just going to do now. So I'm just going to trace it out now and cut it out. So you can see that I marked out the half inches and I'm just tracing it out. So that is it. So now the next thing to do is just to start sewing. So to start sewing, we're going to be folding in our bottom placket first. So remember that we used 2.5. So I'm just going to fold in half inches, then I'm going to fold in 1 inch. So let me just repeat what I said now. So you take in half inches this way, then you fold again, making 1 inches. So that is what you're going to be doing. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the two sides. So this is it now after I was done. So you can see that I've gone ahead to stitch it down also after ironing. So when I was folding it, I noticed I had shortage, so I just extended the sewing upwards because it's going to be showing in front. So I just extended the sewing upward. So you might finish sewing and notice that your neckline is short, so you can just retrace it after you are done with your bottom plackets. So that is what I did. So now the next thing to do is just to work on the neck facing. So you can use a bias to turn your neck, or you can use a facing just like what I am doing here. So I'm going to place it on the both sides and I'm going to be turning it. So I'm just going to stitch it that way and turn it. After I'm done turning it, I'm going to be giving it a really good press. So I'm going to be doing the same thing for the back. So for the back also, I'm just going to place the casing this way, sorry, the facing this way, and I'm just going to go ahead to iron, and let me go ahead to do all of that. So guys, this is it now after I was done with the facing. So you can see how neat and beautiful it looks. That's because I use hemming gum to make sure that my casing is lying down perfectly. So the next thing I'm going to do is just to join the shoulders. So remember that we added half inches for the joining. I'm just going to go ahead to use that half inches to join. So now for the sleeve, so I've gone ahead to fold this fabric into 4. So what I have here is folded into 4. That's because I'm going to be cutting the two sleeves together. So I want the length of the sleeve to be around 16 inches, but I'm going to be marking out 17 inches now. And that is because I'm going to be using half inches to hem the bottom part, and I'm going to be using half inches to join it to the shoulder of the dress. So that's why I'm marking out 17 inches. But by the time I'm done, the entire sleeve is going to be around 16 inches. So you just go ahead to join your line. So now to work on your sleeve cap, what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be marking 4 inches on this part. So after I mark out 4 inches, I'm just going to use straight line from that 4 inches. I'm going to be connecting it to the folded edge. So after I'm done connecting it to the folded edge, so I'm just going to use my armhole curve to just curve it out just the way I am doing. So that is it now. You can see how it is looking now. So I'm just going to go ahead to trace this out and cut it all out. So I went ahead to notch the middle part so that I will know that this is the middle part when I'm attaching it to the bodice. So now I'll just go ahead to join the shoulder area and also attach the sleeve. For the bottom part of the sleeve, so remember we added half inches, so I'll go ahead and weave it, and then I'm going to be sewing on it. But I'm going to make sure that that half inches I'm using is enough to take in my elastic. So this is it now after I was done joining the shoulders. So the next thing now to do is to join the sleeve to the dress. So you can see that I've gone ahead to take in the half inches for my elastic casing, so it's wide enough to take my elastic casing. So now I'm just going to place it. So remember that I notched the middle part, so I'm just going to sew it on the both sides of the sleeve. So let me just go ahead to do all of that, then I'll come back and show you. So guys, here is it after I've gone ahead to join the sleeve. So now we're going to be taking in the side measurements. So I'm just going to be working with my 1 inch. I'm going to be taking 1 inch and I'm going to be covering it. So when you are making your own sleeve too, you might have excess of this, so it does not have any issue. It's not a problem. So you're just going to take here from 1 inches and you try to just take it into the sleeve this way, into the armhole this way, and you finish it up. So I'll go ahead to do it for the both sides. So let me go ahead to do that. So now for the gathers, so I'm gonna have to cut out this long strip. Is around 9 inches. That's for the length. I cut out 9 inches. So I'm gonna have to turn in using half inches. So the remaining half inches, I'm going to be using it to join it to the upper part of the dress. Remember that we wanted the length to be around 8 inches. So for the full length I'm using around 90 inches. So what I'm using is around 90 inches. That's because the amount of fabric I'm using is 2 trousers. So I just cut out a long part of it and I have around 90 inches. So that's what I'm going to be gathering to the down of the dress. So for the edge part of the strap, you remember that we have a button placket. So I'm also going to have something like that on these gathered parts. So I'm just going to take the 2.5 inches or so and fold it just the way I am doing. And I'm going to do it for the two sides and I'm going to be attaching. That's when I'm now going to be gathering the part. So let me just go ahead to do that. So guys, now this is it after I was done with the gathers. So you can see how it is looking, and it's looking very neat. So after I was done, I gave it a good press. So now I'm just going to be attaching the buttons, which is the last thing to do. So this is the button I'm going to be using. Those are the ones I have at home, so they are black, so you can get the color of your dress and put it. So I'm just going to be attaching the buttons. I'm going to be using 3 inches spacing, and I'm just going to tack it down. Then for the sleeve, you can see I went ahead to add my elastic. So you can just measure around your arm and just use whatsoever you have. You can minus like probably 1 or 2 inches. Then you fix it to that part, to the sleeve. So that is just it for the making of this dress. So thank you guys for watching this tutorial. I hope it was simple enough for you to recreate yours, and I'm going to be seeing you in the next tutorial. Bye guys.